We love talking about the young guys coming up. We've talked a lot about the pitchers who made their appearances this year. I mean, listen to this, KY. I love Nick Belsky, our producer, does a great job putting these shows together, and he throws in these stats for us that are great. So if you combine Bubba Chandler, Braxton Ashcraft, Mike Burrows, and Hunter Barco from their last season, look at those numbers: 11-9, a
Oh, boy.
2.67 ERA, 202 strikeouts, and 200 innings pitched. I mean, that is incredible to have that much consistent success among all these guys. Not to mention, Paul Skeens won the Cy Young. Don't worry about him. Mitch Keller did not have his best season ever, but guess what? He threw a bunch of innings and gave you an ERA in the low
Pac-Man.
fours. I mean, that's a good, solid starting pitcher, right?
Yeah,
So
there's no
there's some
doubt.
very impressive things that we have seen. Now we got to look for something similar on the other side would be incredible, but it's not easy. Obviously, we're not saying it's all going to happen immediately, but we did get a few flashes of this. Let's start with Rafael Flores, who's somebody that, I think is easy to kind of forget about. They ended up coming up, made his debut last year. We got him at the trade deadline, and he played really well in Indianapolis, and he came up to the big leagues. And the numbers not incredible, 200 OPS or 200 batting average, 627 OPS. But I think you agree with me that this is the dumbest thing ever, but he looked very hitterish at the plate. It looked
Yeah.
like he had an approach, and although it didn't really work out for him in a very small sample size in just 7 games, he looked like this is somebody that could have an impact on this team going forward.
Yeah, I mean, he's a big body. He's 6'4". I mean, he swings with bad intentions. I mean, that actually helps a lot. I mean, when you know who you are and you attack the fastball the way he does, I mean, and he definitely does that. And so it did look like he had a really good approach, at the plate. Like you said, it goes back to, those spotty at bats, coming up and not really getting a steady runway, if you will. I mean, that comes with the territory. I mean, all major leaguers have to deal with that. Yeah, at some point. When you're young, though, it is a little tougher to get, adapted to making the in-game adjustments. But I saw him literally make some in-game adjustments, and that's what got me excited about it. He's facing a guy first time around. He's able to get him out on a certain pitch, on spin, down and away. Kind of went back to that pitch later on, the next at bat, and he delivered it with a big extra base hit. And so, those are the type of things that you really look at when you're evaluating hitting and the actual hitter himself. And you're right. You use the right term. He is a little hitterish. I like that.
He's
like
a
that
hitterish,
part of it,
man.
Yeah, no, but and I think the next thing is, where does he fit in the lineup? Where can he get the consistent at bats? Is it going to be more of a platoon situation at first base with Spencer Horace, what we talked about before? I mean, I don't know, but if you have a bat that's like that can put the ball on the other side of the wall despite having a tough right-hand hitting ballpark, maybe he does find, some steady gain in there to figure out how to work his way at the major league level and impact, versus left-handed pitching. Is it going to be behind the plate occasionally? Who knows how this is going to work, but that's why, guys make a decision, but they make a decision off of whether you can hit that ball. So
Yeah,
I can guarantee
you can hit it.
You're not going to throw too many fastballs by him. I can guarantee you that, because he comes ready to hit that fastball.
He does. Next guy we want to talk about is other than Konnor Griffin, but that's kind of cheating the system. My personal favorite Pirates prospect is Esmerlyn Valdez. I got to watch him play in the fall league a little bit this year when I was calling those games. I got to meet him, talk to him a little bit about what made his year so special after having a great season, high AA. He played in 123 games. He had 286 with an 896 OPS. He had 26 homers. He won the Willie Stargell Offensive Player of the Year in the minor leagues for the Pirates. And you know what's really cool about Esmerlyn Valdez? Listen to this, Gail. You're going to love this. So I talked to him at the Fall Stars game while he was taking batting practice. I go, hey, man, so I just want to know. I'm always curious. He had a good 2024. He led the Pirates minor leagues in home runs, but it wasn't anything like this season. So I asked him, what did you change in the offseason to prepare you to do that? And he goes, I didn't change anything. all I changed was up here. He goes, all I did was I decided that I'm better than the pitchers. And every time I go up to the box, I know that I'm going to get a hit off of this guy because he is going to make a mistake and I can hit that. And I was like, that was it. Like, you didn't, is that real? Or are you just kind of telling me what I want to hear kind of thing? And no, he really said that was it. It was a complete, for him, it was a mental flip. I am better. And it worked for him. And I think that it really showed this year. And we talk about power coming from the right-handed side. This guy has that in abundance. Do you think that Valdez has a chance of making his debut sometime this season, maybe early in the year?
I do think if he can continue to take in the momentum that he's had, not only from his time last season, 2025 was a great season. Then taking it into the Arizona Fall League, as you said before, ride that into spring training, impact this club in Bradenton, during spring training by doing some of the things that I talked to his manager Andy Fox about, and also Gary Green recently. The one thing they talk about him is he pays attention to details. And obviously, when you got to spend some time with him and talking to him, I'm sure you probably got that feel too. But you nailed it. I mean, the mentality part is the next step to being a productive major league player. When you can own who you are and own what you're trying to accomplish, that means everything. But the fact that he pays attention to details, that means he's going to pay attention to the base running, the defense, which, by the way, he has a plus arm as a defender. He's not going to hurt you defensively. And so those are the type of things that he gets to impact spring training in Bradenton, show off to his major league coaching staff, and that's where he has to make sure that he understands this is my opportunity to put off a good and leave a good impression on this staff. So when it's time, it's an easy phone call to be made. And if you run into any kind of situation where you're calling up a young guy that's aggressive, pays attention to detail, and wants to be the best version of himself, and he's aware of the mental part that comes with being a major league ball player, that's exactly the situation that he's going to walk himself into.
Absolutely. And the last one that I don't even think we really need to go into much because we've done this a million times. Konnor Griffin, who we're both thinking is going to come up early. I mean, I could see a possibility of him making his debut on day one if that's how things go. In or in the season last year, through three levels, he had 333 with 21 homers and a 941 OPS. He also won the Defensive Player of the Year award for the Pirates minor leagues, and he obviously won the Honus Wagner Player of the Year award because you can't win the defensive player and have those offensive stats and not win the MVP award for the for the minor league system. But this is a guy. He had 64 stolen bases, I believe, 67,
I
something
think
like
that was
that.
it, 67
He's
maybe.
going to,
Something silly.
yeah, he's going to be something special, and it's more of a question of when he's going to make that impact than if.
Yes, I do agree. I think one of the things that I will say is that players will let you know. I say that a lot, and you've heard me say it a million times. I don't ever want to feel like no matter what, you have a responsibility in leadership to make the tough decisions, but don't make them tougher than they are where you actually have the player fighting against himself. I think a guy like Konnor Griffin, he's going to show you if he's ready for that next level. Can he deal with adversity? Yes. Can he play defense through his offensive struggles? These are the type of things you want to know because that's what makes true major leaguers. Can he beat you on the base paths? Yes. Is he solid mentally? Can he overcome the obstacles that this game can, to give you? But when you go into spring training and you see some things take place, I mean, I've seen guys make the team that had no idea that or even were on the radar of making the team coming out of spring training. We've seen that happen over the last years. So this is a different cat. I mean, it's no doubt. I mean, I've shared before. I was talking to Andy Fox, and he said, he kind of, he gave his comment. I mean, he reminds me of the Chipper Jones personally. I've shared this in the past. When Chipper was coming up as a young hitter, obviously he was a switch hitter. The difference is Chipper, he had a guy like Fred McGriff hitting behind him. That's why it's so important for guys like Brian Reynolds to have bounce back years or O'Neal Cruz to have bounce back years, because it'll make it that much easier for you to send Connor Griffin to the big leagues when you know you have a
Yeah.
proven bat hitting behind you that's doing some damage. Or maybe it's that acquisition we talked about where you have that trade or a free agent that you're able to land that could be that guy that's hitting behind a guy, young guy like Connor Griffin. That will put him in a position where he can be a little more successful. Very much like what we experienced in the early '90s with Chipper Jones, as he got called up to the big leagues as well. So, I mean, those are the type of things that I look at. I think Andy brought up. I mean, Andy Fox brought up a pretty good comp too, which is Bobby Witt Jr. I mean,
Ooh.
that's a
Ooh.
legitimate comp. It's a
Yeah.
legitimate comp. I mean, this is a special cat that can beat you in a lot of different ways, and so all that to be said, no extra pressure on the kid. Just go out and play baseball. Let that take care of everything else. And he comes to Bradenton, it'll figure itself out. Baseball has a way of doing that, as we all
Yeah.
know. And so we just get to sit back and watch and appreciate, the talent that this group has been putting together. And hopefully it can shine. And it's going to be led by these young Bucks because, man, they are coming.
They are coming. All right, last question before I let you get back to your, I assume, Christmas movie marathon today. I don't know what you're doing today. I Who would it be a bigger surprise for Connor Griffin to make the opening day roster than it was 2 years ago when Jared Jones made the opening day roster?
No, I think Connor Griffin to me, I think into you, I think we can anticipate the possibilities of him making this club. I mean,
Yeah.
unless we do something over the next several days that makes you go, okay, we went out and got a shortstop, because that'll kind of send the message immediately, you know. But I mean, Jared Jones, that was, as pitching, as power pitching, he just dominated in that way. But Connor Griffin, I mean, I thought Jared Jones was a big shock. That was a big shock. But Connor Griffin for me right now, I'm sorry, I'm like, man, I mean, I'm looking to find a way to not take him. Tell me, you got to do something for me not to take him at this point. I mean, and I get it. I mean, he hasn't seen Indianapolis, he hasn't seen AAA. I get all that, but because you have a skill set that, like I said, you have speed, you have power, you can play the position. I've heard a lot of people in the organization say defensively, man, shortstop, he's really done some good things there. So again, what can you protect him with? It's going to always be my focus offensively, and I really, really want that to be the really big contributing factor to how he's going to jump off and have early success, because that's always important with a young guy like that. You want them to have some early success in April and May.
Yeah, it's not this simple, but I mean, if you put up the Pirates roster of all the players they have at their dispense up on a wall, it's hard to say he's not one of the best 26.